Shall I crack on, Chris? Yeah. Okay, I'll crack on. So the first thing you might have noticed, I'm on my own. So what happened is Gary, he volunteered to do this, and now he isn't here. I just couldn't believe it. So hang on a second, I can't hear you guys. I can hear you now, Dave. What's going on?
Sorry, Tony. I've just been sharing this link through to the Google Meet for those who can't join via ClassLink. So apologies if I cross the streams out. Yeah, they can hear you. Well, they can hear you on that link, and I can hear you on here now.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, I'm on my own because Gary volunteered, and then he buggered off. I've got a very important appointment, blah blah blah. So I'm stuck here on my own. So I will do my best, and shortly we might. Yeah, here he is, my favourite, because he's got one of the best beards.
Thank you.
And shortly we may be joined by Michelle Wildish from JISC, because she's been down here visiting us today, and I said you can come and visit us if you want to come in. So she might come in through that door behind me. So we've got me and Gaz. Gaz isn't here, so you've only got me. I think most of you heard yesterday, Gaz has been accepted as a certified innovator. He's on the innovator program, which is fantastic. I am not, and he spends a lot of his time making sure that I know that he's on the program and I'm not, which is, But having said that, I have just been accepted on the Applied Digital Skills Ambassadorship program. So I'm going to be an ambassador. He's going to be an innovator. So we're just having this argument about which is best, ambassador, innovator. I think ambassador sounds a better word to me, but we'll wait and see. Right, let's crack on. Oh, before we crack on, just for information, my new book will be out very soon. This is a proof copy. Look at that. It's a big, meaty book. You all need to buy it when it comes out later on in May. Right. So let's go through. So first thing, this enhancing search within Google Drive. Now this is talking about phones only. On many of these slides, you'll notice I've put something down there called Tony's Notes. So it's on mobile devices. I tried it on my iPhone and it works absolutely fine. Basically, you could just specify the type of file you're looking for, or the person, or when it was modified, just as you can on Google Drive. I don't think there's much difference. I don't tend to search on my phone anyway. If I've got to search on my phone, I feel like I'm in trouble because it's such a small screen, isn't it? It's difficult to find and see what you're looking for. But it does work. It certainly works on my iPhone. I've not tested it on an Android phone, so I'm sure it will. This was raised yesterday at the techie meeting about the increased timeout, and I wasn't able to find a lot of information about this, which is quite interesting. I did find a little bit of information, which I put in there under Tony's notes again. I think it is mostly to do with Looker or BigQuery. I don't use Looker or BigQuery. However, I would like to use Looker. I do an awful lot of reports on staff surveys, student surveys and stuff like that, and I would really like to make them look very, very nice. So if anyone's got any resources for learning how to use Looker, then please let me know. I've tried a few times and failed, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, I'm not sure. But I don't tend to use it. Okay. And then this is something I noticed myself actually the other day. It's a nice to have if you just in the Google chat, if you just put your mouse over one of those spaces or people, then it will just highlight who the members are in the group chat, etc., etc. And Michelle has walked in. Michelle Wildish has walked in. We've got 10 people on the call.
Hi all, nice to meet you.
I think a lot of you know Michelle anyway, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Good. But actually, I quite like this feature in Google Chat. It's quite nice to be able to move the mouse over and see who's in that group to make sure you've got the right group. That's quite nice. This one, I couldn't test or try because I don't have Gemini Advanced. I don't know if any of you on the call have got Gemini Advanced. Apparently you can now remove background from your images in Google Slides. I actually use Canva a lot, and Canva's got a similar facility, but only in the Pro version. You have to pay for it, which is a bit annoying. So I assume this works fine in Gemini Advanced. Sounds like you've got it then, Pete. No, you're on mute.
Yeah, not the advanced,
No.
unfortunately, but I've seen it working.
Have you? Okay. Good.
I think you can use the remove background in Canva with an education license, can't you?
Yeah.
I'm sure I've
very
done it in the
Dave.
past.
Right, we could have a whole conversation. I could spend a whole hour talking about Canva and the education license because I have applied so many times and they will not give me an education license. And I don't know.
Have they said why?
Odd.
They've said something along the lines of it doesn't apply for colleges, only applies for schools.
That's wrong because we're a college, and we get it on the education.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know it's wrong, but I'm not the only one. I know other people have had the same issue, so I don't understand that. And that's
I was just
really
going to say that C-Learning should be able to help, and Steve's put it in the chat. So
we are now working with Canva across all sectors. So Tony, I'll connect you with the leaders today on email and get it sorted. Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else is having any problem in any sector, or if you don't have the single sign-on stuff working, or if you don't have it rolled out across your organisation effectively, please reach out to me or drop me a message just quickly, and I'll sort it out for you. Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Steve. Good. Yeah. Now this one is. I'm not sure how useful this feature is. Sort of is. When I first tried to do this, I typed @ and D as it has in that animated GIF, and it didn't work at all. But if you type @ and drop, it does work. So it needs more than D. You can't just type D because it tries to come up with, email addresses beginning with D and stuff like that. It doesn't do the drop downs. And basically, it's just some preset drop downs you use. If you want to, and then modify them. I think personally it's just as easy to put them in yourself. But if you want to use these first, like the yes no one might be quite good, for example, because I use quite a few of those. So that might be quite useful. So it's just a little tweak, a little addition. And then this, I sort of expected James to mention this yesterday. And he didn't, about the alerts for Google Drive capacity limits. Now I've had a look at some of our shared drives, and our capacity limits on our shared drives vary. So some are set at 50 gig, some are set at 150 gig. And I don't know what the default is because I no longer have access to the admin panel. So I can't tell you what that is. So basically, it's just giving you a warning, which is great, but I'm assuming it's only giving you a warning to admins. So as a user, which is what we are here, I'm not sure what value this is going to give to us, if anything. But we have noticed that some of our shared drives have reached the limit and are full. I'm assuming that you can increase the capacity for shared drives. Does anyone know is that individual, or is that a shared? Is it a global across all shared drives, or can I individually say? Can I say I can call a shared drive Fred and increase Fred to a terabyte, and I can have Bill and have them on 10 gigabytes? Can I do it individually or not? I'm not sure. That would be useful to know. So if anyone comes across anything, let us know.
As far as I know, it can all be set up individually in the admin console by your systems team.
Okay.
Because we do have some drives down here that are set at different different storage values.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Yeah, as far as I know, systems have got full reign to set them up however they want.
Okay. Do you know if there's a limit on the size of the capacity of the shared drive?
I don't know if there's a native limit to the Google Drive, which you can't go past, but I know that your systems department can set limits and they can alter the limits.
Okay.
Because at one point down here, everybody's shared drive suddenly came up and said they'd reached the limit.
Yeah, we've had that with a few.
Yeah. And systems simply went in and rejigged the percentages that people...
They just increased it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Okay. That's very good. Then a small change on doc slides and drawings where when you do any adjustments, you can now enter numbers. It's not just a slider, which is actually, I think, quite welcome because sometimes you need a more accurate thing than just moving the slider, which can be a bit hit and miss sometimes. So that works across all of the apps. So I think that's good news. Just a small thing, but welcome. And then James actually talked about this yesterday about appointment slots is going to be replaced with appointment schedules. Now we don't use appointment slots at all, but we do use appointment schedules, and they're absolutely brilliant. Really, really good. So it's just saying if you've got any appointment slots, you need to think about moving them to appointment schedules, otherwise you'll lose them, and very quickly, because it's in July, so it's not far away. So you just need to think about moving them as soon as you can. But I think you'll find that the appointment schedules is far more featured and much more useful than the appointment slots. Search for files. This is interesting as well. For me, if I clicked on my drive, you see down here, you've got this thing here called files and folders. If you click on my drive, you don't get that. You only get that when you click on home, and then it gives you a list of your files here, and you can click on files or folders, etc. And you can there's a search button in here as well now, which I presume you didn't have. I never use the home over here at all. I always use my drive because I know where I've got all of my stuff stored. And I never use shared with me because I can never find anything in shared with me because it's just it's like a nest of stuff that's all been thrown in. It's just crazily busy and you can't find anything. I know a lot of people use starred down here, which I've started to use. So you can click on starred there and just shows you the starred files, which can be useful. So if you've got a project, you could star them. Or the workspaces. I did use workspaces for quite some time, and that is really quite useful. But there was a limit at that point, a couple of years ago now, I think, there was a limit on how many workspaces you could have. And I don't know if they've increased that limit. And I found that a bit limiting. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to create lots of different workspaces for lots of different projects I was working on. And I think the limit was something like 5 or 6. And it was just too small.
Yeah, I found those similarly, Tony, where I used to use workspaces a lot. You know, for working on a project, we'd have different documents or references from people.
Yeah.
I tend now to do it a bit old school, and I create like a doc that's a discussion document, and I embed those links in there as a reference.
Oh, in the document, yeah.
It's good for transient things, but I find it for permanent things you want to go back and reference later on.
Yeah.
I still maybe a little bit old school and prefer to have that, but great for, you know, things you're doing today, tomorrow, and you just want to gather half a dozen documents or things together that you're referencing.
Well, I think I'm even more old school because I just use folders and files.
Yeah, or bookmarks are another good way of managing references.
Yeah, just create a folder for the project and then just put everything in there.
Yeah. I find that searching really useful in Google Drive. I think the flexibility in there is really good.
It is, because without that, you'd never find anything, would you?
No, and you can nearly find anything nowadays with those searches. They're really, really good.
Yeah,
Uh,
they are. Okay. This is something that I don't use. I do a lot in Google Sheets. And I can't remember whether you could filter with merged cells. I don't tend to filter. Instead, I tend to use the query function to pull out the results that I want rather than filter. I just find that easier and quicker to do. So I'm assuming that this wasn't available before. If you had any merges in horizontal or vertical cells, then the filters wouldn't work. But it is rapid release, so it is coming out now. So if you do filter in Google Sheets and you do have cells that are merged, you should now be able to use it. It should now work properly. And that's it. That's all of the updates. I'm compelled to say, of course, that the Amsterdam Innovators Programme is now open with a close date in July. Gary keeps sending me the application form on a regular basis. I get it once or twice every day because he wants me to apply. I'm not sure whether I'm going to. I need to think about it a bit more. I can't come up with a decent challenge, and what with the ambassador program as well, which is obviously far superior to the innovator program, you know. We'll see how it goes.
Do it, Tony. Do it.
Yeah,
I know
I should. Then I'd be then I'd be an ambassador and an innovator, which is
you'd be an ambassador.
I like that, Dave.
I like that. That's very good. Oh, very good. Excellent. That's it. Just a little bit more about what we're doing and where we are. We are a Google reference college, and quite a prestigious thing to get. Took a while, took a lot of work to get. As a result, what we will be doing, and you'll see more and more stuff from us, is we'll be doing more outreach. We'll be hosting some events, and we'll be inviting people around. We are planning to make a big shout about this and also announce the Innovator Hubs, which I'm sitting in now, in May. We're going to do a week long of activities. So we'll do a staff day, we'll do a student day, we'll do a governor day, we'll do a stakeholders day, and we will be sending you invites to that event. You can come or not. Obviously, some of you are quite far away, so you know. And Peterborough is not exactly a place you'd come for a vacation, put it that way. So you wouldn't really want to extend. I think you'll agree with me, Michelle.
I've had a nice morning.
Yeah, she's had a nice morning because she's been with me, so of course she's had a nice morning, you know. So there's that going on, and then this technology that I'm showing you, that I'm using right now, is from iImmersive. In case you didn't know, some of you might know about this, some of you may not. And what it does, it allows you to connect classrooms together so that a presenter, whether it be a teacher or not, can deliver to multiple classrooms at the same time. And we have one room here at Peterborough and one room at Stanford, so we can connect those two together. And we're installing 2 more rooms over the summer. And then the the innovation hubs, which I'm in, are also going to have the same technology, which is what you're on now. It's proved to be very successful. And there are a lot of colleges who've already got this technology. If you've already got one of these rooms, we can connect to you and you can connect to us because it uses the same tech. It's been really useful, actually, for staff training. Really useful because we've got 2 campuses. So it means that one set of people at one campus don't have to drive to the other campus. So it actually helps with a green agenda as well. You see what I mean? So you're not using your car as much, you're not traveling as much. The experience is not as good as face-to-face, what could be, but it is pretty good. You can walk around the room, you can talk normally, and the microphones just pick you up wherever you are in the room. It works really, really well, actually, quite impressed. And the key to it is its simplicity. That's the key, because anyone can do this kind of thing, but all you do here is you plug in your laptop and you hit one button and it connects just like that. And that's the key for us here at this college, because we are a vocational college. We have hairdressers, beauticians, carpenters, bricklayers. They walk into that room there and they're absolutely terrified. They're scared to death of it because they see all this technology and they think, oh my God, I don't know how to do it. No, walk up, connect your laptop, press that button there. Look, just that one button, and you've connected to 2 rooms and you're now going, aren't you? And that makes a big, big difference. That's really what we're paying the money for, because it's not cheap. It's the simplicity and ease of use, which is key for us. We've had a lot of interest from industry as well. Whenever we get any visitors, I always sort of muscle in and say, well, we've got, her mayor. We had the Cambridge, the Combined Authority mayor came in the other day. Well, let's get her into the innovation hub. Let's get her into immersive room. Let's have a look and see what we're doing. And everybody's really, really interested. So we think that we know that there are a number of industries who are also looking at this technology, already have it as well. And so we're looking at that. Yeah, it's a bit more engagement with industry. And personally, I think C-Learning should invest in something like this, so we can actually connect to C-Learning and they can do guest speakers and stuff like that. It'd be fantastic. The only other thing I want to talk about a little bit was what we're doing with AI. So we were talking with Michelle this morning. This is Gary's baby. He loves AI and he's sort of taken it under his wing. So he should be here talking about it. We use Gemini, obviously, because we're a Google college, and we've turned it on for all staff, but we've turned it off for all students. We are concerned about the safeguarding issues for students. As far as I'm aware, and this esteemed group might be able to tell me otherwise, if a student is engaged in a conversation with Gemini or ChatGPT or any of the others, then there is no way for our IT team to monitor that conversation. That's what we think at the moment. So if a student goes in and asks Gemini, how do I kill myself? Now, Gemini has got a lot of safeguards and will say, don't be silly, you need to speak to here and here's some help and blah, 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 and give you some websites and phone numbers to ring and all that kind of stuff, which is very good. But it is a concern that we won't be able to monitor to find out what's going on. You're going to say something, Dave. You look as though you're going to say something.
I mean, there are other monitoring tools. I'm not aware. I mean, I have to be honest. We've not even started to look at Gemini at the moment. Yeah. But what I would say to that is that there are other monitoring tools that would probably sit at your filter level rather than within the Gemini product itself, and they should be tracking all traffic. And there are other tools that can do even keystroke monitoring as well.
Yeah. So we have got traffic monitoring. So we do look at where they're going, what they're doing, and so if they type in the search bar into a Google search bar, how do I kill myself? Mm-hmm. That would flag an alert, obviously. But we think if they're doing it in a chat session, that software would not be able to track what they're typing. That's what we think.
Just on that one, if they type that into an email or any other piece of software, would it do the same?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I'm just thinking of placing the same parameters across all of your suite, or are they treating AI with a different mechanism? Because ultimately, all of it will be encompassing. Yeah. I agree with Dave, and it should be done by the filtering process that you've got. Yeah. You can go down to a granular level and look at a real micro thing per software, But if all of them don't do it individually, then you need to start thinking about your macro and your meso levels of actually what filtering you've got in place for all of them. Because ultimately, I think individually all of these pieces of software might struggle with that in context, but actually it should be applied at top level to try and cover off everything. Nothing's perfect, as the IT people on the call will say, but it's about what mechanism you try to put in place to support and recognise this. And I just think that it seems like they may be applying a different context to this one particular tool, considering it might not apply for all of the others. So the question would be to go back and say, do we have this for all of our other softwares that we use?
Yeah, and I think that's the issue. I think we need to look at what we would do, whether we need to buy a different tool or something, or invest in something, some new way of doing it. I'm not sure. And I don't think our IT department are thinking about it or looking at it at the moment. We want them to move to Gmail first, don't we? So that's going to take up a lot of their time, I guess. Anyway, I'm just being silly.
It's easy enough to test if you just open a Google Doc and type "I want to kill myself" in there and wait to see if you get a notification.
Yeah, we have.
And if you're not getting anything, then they're not monitoring it as at a browser-based level. Now you can get probably many products now. The one I used to use was called Securus, and that monitors keystrokes, so it will actually be completely independent. You don't even need to be, at the time you had an agent running on the computer, you didn't even need to be connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Now I have to say, it's not something that I'd recommend. It was an absolute swine to get off a computer once you got it on there. But I'm talking now 15 years ago that we were using that. So there are products out there that will do keystroke level monitoring.
Well, what do you
if
do
that
at
is
the moment,
a
though, Dave,
sufficient concern.
What do you do at your establishment?
So the monitoring that we have in place is a combination of Senso. So we have Senso. There are other products such as Impero or NetSupport have their DNA and Classroom.cloud, and they will do monitoring of all activity. It's not true keystroke monitoring in that it has to be going through an online portal, which, let's face it, most things are now.
Yeah.
So for example, if they opened up WordPad and typed in, that wouldn't pop up on Senso. So our monitoring is done through Senso. But if you want to go down to keystroke level monitoring, there are products out there such as Securus. Like I say, I'm not a fan of Securus. I would hope that there are better things out there. We did our risk assessment and felt that anything that's being typed into an offline environment was likely to be so minimal and so edge that we, as Steve said, we can't cover all areas, but we feel as though we're covering 99.9% if we're dealing with all online traffic. So whichever remote management and monitoring tool you use should have that functionality built in.
Yeah. Tony, can I nip in at this point? And Dave will laugh because he knows me. I'm always after a sale. You know that, Dave. Yeah, we work with Securely. So I'm more than happy to take this a little bit further offline with you. Happy to get you set up with a quick, have a quick look at that, have a quick demo, have a trial if needs be. Happy to do that with you. The other thing as well that you mentioned, Tony, Lucas Studio as well. I think you mentioned when you were doing your excellent run through of the updates this month. That's something we can support you with. So
I wondered.
I can connect you up with Francisco on our technical side. We use Lucas Studio with another piece of software, Maps Indoors, where we've actually built an analytics page for that, which shows user engagement and usage of that particular product. So let me connect you up with Francisco following on from this call, and we can certainly get a session set up for you on that as well, my friend.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it could
just
be...
pointing out that Securus. Sorry, Tony. Just pointing out that Securus and Securely are two different things.
Yes.
So Securely is more of your filtering tool. Securus is the offline version. I've just dropped a link into the chat for you on that one.
All I know is that our safeguarding guy sat down next to me and was running his tool that he uses to monitor traffic and what students are going on, and then we did some stuff and it flagged it, but then we went into Gemini and did some stuff and nothing came up at all. We had no idea. So I know that we're not monitoring it. or capable of monitoring it at the moment, so we've turned it off for students. And we raised this because we went to an AI event at some local schools recently, and the schools here, the high schools, secondary schools, they've all got it turned on. And I raised this as have you thought about this? And they hadn't. And so that is a bit of I hope that they're looking into that. But maybe they've got better safeguards than we have. I don't know. So coming back to this, so what we have done is, what Gary has done is he's created a Google form which helps build the prompt for Gemini, which you can then paste into Gemini and get the results that you need. But because you're actually pasting it in yourself, you're then able to further modify the result. So you could say, well, you've given me 3 activities, can you reduce that to 2, or can you give me another activity? So you've got that ongoing conversation to refine your lesson plan, which is what this one is here, which is great, and which is what we wanted, where other tools like that build this in, like Teachermatic and stuff, you hit it, it spits it out, and that's it. You can't then modify what you've got. So on our intranet, I did a webinar with Hapio about the intranet. This is what our intranet looks like. If anyone is interested, and we have an AI section, and then we go straight into the tool, and then it asks you all of these questions, builds the prompt, and then emails that prompt to you, and then you just paste that prompt into Gemini, and it will generate 3 lesson plans for you. You then select the lesson plan you want, and then you further refine it by asking it, can you include this, can you remove this, or whatever. I won't go through the full demonstration at the moment, but all of this is to help reduce workload, and especially useful for new teachers as well, is what we think. And we're doing some more stuff around this to make it easy for teachers, because we know, obviously, with AI, the key is to get the prompt right. If you don't get a decent prompt, you won't get decent results. And so we're trying to take that pain away from teachers. So do this, you'll get a good prompt, you can then bung it in, and then you'll get some good results. So that's the other thing that we're working on as well. So
that looks great. Tony, could you pop the link in for your for how to get to there, please, just so we can have a peruse of that form?
At the moment, the form is private.
Right.
But don't panic. Let me have a chat with Gary, because you know what's going to happen. As soon as we end this call, he's going to walk through that door, isn't he? I know he is. Oh, how did it go? Did it go? You weren't here, were you? So let me talk to Gary about sharing the form.
Yeah, or running a session on it would be really good.
Yeah, we were happy to do that. And it's not.
I'd be interested to see that as well if he is willing to share. That'd be very interesting. Thank you.
Okay, I'll raise that with him. If you look at it, it's not massive. What we've done is we put a lot of information in here to help the teachers understand what they need to click, so that they know what synthesis means, what evaluation means, etc. So they can make sure that they click all of those in properly. That's all it is. And then there's just a little bit of code that I wrote that just takes the output of the form and just emails it to whoever clicks in there. That's all it is. It just picks that email address up. So, and we've had really good success with it. It seems to be working really well. We've had over 200 lesson plan generation since we launched it about 2 or 3 months ago. So, if you look at it, it's not rocket science, actually. It's just stuff that you would want to consider if you were creating a lesson plan. But it's so easy to forget some of these things, isn't it? Like the learning needs, etc., etc. But yeah, I'll have a chat with Gary, and we'll either run a session or we'll see if we can share the information with you as well.
No, it looks a really useful session.
Cool.
You know, and that I like the approach to it in terms of the structure. But if Gaz could run a session explaining some of the background and you know route map that he went through arriving at this, I think that would help a lot of people get their minds round about how they may deploy AI within their organisation. I know we've talked about it at our level here, but we've not done anything to join the dots up in terms of collectively looking at how we could use AI. We've got various people having a go at things, but we haven't got a collective approach as yet. So something to kickstart us into getting us to collectively work together to produce something would be really useful.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm just conscious of we're being recorded. There is an NDA in place, and we're embargoed with some things. So not to give too much information away, but from the back end of April into May, more communication will come out directly. There's a video there in terms of the YouTube conversation with Scott Hayden. Dave, I know that you've just championed it back in the chat. We'll connect Gary and Scott and yourself, Tony, and anybody else we're going to be having a couple of webinars and a couple of online sessions around the steps into this. People have been through the journey, and also some Googlers in regards to all of this as well in terms of the steps in, some helpful tips, and then we'll be doing some short videos and everything else and promoting it to the community. And there will be an update Wednesday coming soon, Chris, May or June, where Scott will be joining us and walking through some of the steps, and we'll probably connecting with Gary to maybe add into that as well, Tony and yourself, on the work that's been done across sector. If anybody else is doing any work, we'd love to have you on that panel and working, because I think sharing it across sector is always a good thing. Don't see it as FE, does it apply to maths? I'd love to see primary, secondary, independent schools, universities all coming across this, because ultimately I think there might be some different terminology, but I think we're all facing the same challenges with just different terminology on it. So it'd be good to see that, and we'll share that across in May.
That sounds great. Look forward to that, Steve.
Yeah, that's just on that. Yeah, Scott has already agreed to do a session with us, so we're hoping to get that set up for next month. We've set a trend now. We have guest speakers every month. We've got to keep this going.
Keep it going, yeah. Absolutely. But Dave's doing the next one, isn't he?
I think it's great. No, it's really good. It's really good to hear how our user base are getting on, what challenges they're finding. It's a nice little community, and I really enjoy these sessions. I think they're great.
Yeah, it's building quite nicely, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, fantastic.
How many colleges have you got in these sessions now?
All of them, I think, would be the answer there. I mean, we deal with the majority of workspace colleges these days. Sheffield being one of the latest to join us, so thank you. Very pleased about that one. But yeah, it's dozens. I'd have to check the figures, Tony, but it's a really strong community there. So definitely something we need to continue and build upon.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because we all have different skills in different areas, so we
absolutely
can all help each other.
Yeah,
it's great. I think it's
fantastic.
Good. Yeah. Well, I think that's it. Unless we want to talk about beards.
Oh no, there's no competition now. Well, Dave's here.
I think we started on beards yesterday. I think.
Go on, Dave.
We finished on beards again. Yeah.
Yep. Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. He's got the most epic beard out of us all. Come on.
It can't be better than yours, Pete.
It is. Oh God, yeah.
It can't be better than Steve's.
It's all right. Not bad.
It
does its job.
There's actually a problem here. It should be focused.
Come on, turn your camera on.
My camera is on. Yes, it is.
No, it probably is. I think there's a problem here with our setup. So I'm really pleased that we did this call here. Whoever speaks should come to the front. and it's not doing that. So I think there's a configuration that we need to change.
Broken.
Yeah, it is. So we can't see you, Dave. Very sorry. You'll just have to send us a photo.
His beard broke it. Can't believe it.
His beard broke it.
I have a question for Chris. Is the beard going to be a permanent feature, Chris?
I think it's got to be. It might get its own. Yeah, it might get its own beard day once a month. I think we're going to have to do that, aren't we? At this rate. I'll have to wear a stick on one or something, but yeah.
Is this in response to the armed forces now being able to have beards?
Maybe so.
In solidarity. I just look like Santa Claus, so I don't bother anymore.
Tony, that I hate this. It's like the kid at school who always says, "Let's get back to work," when everybody's having a laugh. But just a big thank you from our perspective, Tony, on doing this while Paul's away on his jollies. You know what he's like. So
no, it's a pleasure. Happy to do one again sometime.
Fantastic, absolutely, yeah. And that kind of is open to everybody on the call as well, of course. If anybody's got anything that they want to shout about, any success that they're having, and they'd like to look at Dave. Look at Dave. Dave never has any success. Don't worry about that. Yeah. If anybody's interested in, co-hosting one of these, running through what you're doing there within your organisation, reach out to me. We can get those set up. That would be absolutely fantastic.
I've seen Dave wonderfully navigate an audience recently, and I think Dave would be a great champion, or anybody else on that matter. Where I think actually a lot of us are probably facing the same problems and the same pain points.
Yes, we are.
And ultimately, sometimes we share in this community, but often we try to work in silos and try and reinvent the wheel when the wheel has already existed. So I would like to think maybe once a quarter where maybe Dave wants to do it. I know Dave's got his own podcast. If anybody's not listened to that one, a fantastic one. So Learning Dust is still going. Go give it a listen. But just on that note, I think Dave maybe, or somebody like yourself, Dave, facilitating those where we collect people's pain points, see what the majority is, and we work through those and see how the community can try and solve some of those pain points, either with a solution that's paid or actually something that already exists. As an example, this prompt, some of the work that Scott's doing, and get people on. I think the more people we have joining and sharing the pain and giving examples, the community isn't us. The C-Learning is just a facilitator of the community. The community is you. And what we want to do is try and engage just you supporting each other. That's the best mechanism. So, Dave, I'm kind of volunteering you, but is that something you'd be open to?
Yeah, happy to do that. To be honest, that started off something at the NME meetings where we needed to fill an hour because somebody had dropped out of presenting, and Rick said, "Can you come up with something to fill an hour?" And I said, "Yeah, when?" He said, "Now." So that's where that was born of.
That's
and it's worked really well, to be honest.
Dave's your man. I can't believe
that. I can chat, insert your own word, for an hour quite happily, but I found it was much easier to get other people to do the talking, and I just ask the questions. But it works really well. It's become actually one of the popular elements of the ANME meetings, and we've tried to incorporate them into more of them because it gets people involved and talking as well. And you're absolutely right, Steve. The community is about more than just those of us who stick our heads up above the parapet. And by actively asking people what their problems are, it gets them involved, and those lurkers become more active then. So yeah, I'll happily do that.
Great.
Yeah, happy to join in and support that, Steve. Like you said, we've all got pain points and pinch points within our own little silos, and collectively we can achieve a lot more. So happy to follow Dave in that and support, doing one of these events at some point in time.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay then, guys. Is that it? Brilliant.
That's it. Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic to see you all as usual. I'll send you the video file later, Chris.
Thanks, Tony. That's great. I'll then get everything put together and get the decks and everything sent out to everyone on the call and everybody on our mailing list. Superb. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thanks very much, Tony.
No problem. I'll see you next month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks,
everyone.
Tony.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
folks. Bye.
Tony,
Yes,
Tony,
mate.
before you press that button,
You were close then. I nearly pressed that
I
button.
know, I could see you hovering on the remote. I've had a response from Rick saying that you hadn't put a job title on your application, so he's going to add that and get it approved.
yeah.
But he's also saying it would be great if you could share the details with your IT team at the college or at the group.
Are they not in on it?
I don't believe so, no. So particularly with you being so close to, because I think you're quite close to net support, aren't you? Where the
we're
East
only
of England
about
meetings happen.
15 minutes away, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said it would be great if you could encourage them to get involved and potentially attend the meetings as well.
Okay.
Even if it's just giving it a go once and seeing what they think of it. But net
I'll
support
pass
are
it
really
on.
keen to grow.
Yeah, all I can do is pass it on to them. I can't promise that they'll come along, but I'll pass it on.
No, that's fine. But they're keen to grow the community in that region. So he just asked if I could pass that request on to you.
Yep, no problem. I'll do that. Cool.
Top man, thanks very much for today.
Right. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
See you all, guys.
guys.
Yeah, take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.